Welcome to the Accu-Trade VIN-dow podcast. This week, Bob explains why market reports are the worst thing you could refer to right now and why you won't be able to rely on them anytime soon.
Good day, everybody, and welcome to this week's VIN-dow with Robert Hollinshead. This week, Bob, I know the market is in, I will say, disarray. Our own independent auction up here was all over the place last evening. I'm watching other markets across my country, Canada, and it's all over the place. What's happening and what should dealers be cautious about going forward, and particularly looking at market reports in general?
Morning, Shoni, and everybody. Once again, in other words, when we do these little things, I don't want people to think that we're somebody to listen to, or that we know what we're talking about. I'm just giving you my opinion based on what we do, not just with books and products, but buying and selling a few thousand cars a month. You follow me? So, and across the board. We probably even touched on this in a couple of things that we did a couple of weeks ago. My memory's like a sieve, so I really couldn't tell you, but it's on the front of the lobe because I'm talking to our guys as we're getting ready for another 1,000-car auction tomorrow. Expectations are not necessarily being met. We went through this thing where it'll never occur the rest of our lives and your children's lives, that it's never going to happen again. If it happened again, the whole world's going to crash anyway, so it won't matter because you can't support the insanity twice, right? Even though people think like you're going to start taxing people, you're going to spend it different, and everything's going to come out fine. It's not coming out fine. It's not going to happen again. So from our standpoint, the car business, in the buying and selling business, pricing, buying, selling, understanding data, right? For what good that is, it's you still got to use your common sense. You still got to use your brain when you're looking at all the things. So this is my personal point of view, right? Right now, market reports are the worst thing that you could possibly refer to because yesterday, being Wednesday, it's kind of like the big auction day around, the continent, and when the way we look at the information that's coming in, it's from about 12 different angles, so you can understand it a little bit differently. It's not just price, not miles. It's not just history. It's not just brand. It's a way of seeing things in a little. If you cranked up your telescope a little bit higher, you'd see it differently from this angle. And the angle is, sellers who traditionally were 40 or 50% sellers, cars that are 40 grand or more. Anybody can be 100% seller on cars under 10 grand. Through the last, it really started last June, and we took a little dip in November, December, like it was going to correct itself. It didn't. It continued to go into the land of cloud cuckoo land. And now that we're coming off the other side, you're watching sellers that were puffed up chest, peacock walking around things, to selling 90 or 95%, back to selling 35 or 40. And it's because most people don't want to sell to the market because for a lot of reasons. Maybe they can't. If they did, they'd lose money. They'd have to take money out of their pocket. Might not have money in their pocket, or they got to go answer to somebody and tell boss that we just blew X amount of money on inventory. Right? All of that turns out to be like something where, what do you do today? Right? So that's yesterday's stuff, and that's you'll deal with it. Everybody will melt their losses into whatever they're currently doing. But what do you do now? And my feeling is market reports are the biggest disaster you could possibly dream of, because all these 20, 21, 22, 21 goofball, $100,000 truck this and truck that, and it's this and it's got that gear. That's over, man. In other words, I'm watching these cars all over the country, setting them in 15, 20, 25, 30,000 under, and there's not like anybody touching. So if you grind and grind and grind, somebody shows up, and a car, here or there is going to show up on a market report as if everything's normal. It ain't normal. 2 months ago, that same vehicle, when you set it in for no matter what price it was like a machine gun to get to cuckoo land. And that is finished. It ain't happening. Even on cars that are still showing up at 110 or 117, some Escalade, whatever, it's a grind to get there. It's a grind. Doesn't mean it doesn't show up there, because after you ground, it finally got there. But that indicates, obviously, the desire and the cautiousness is raising its head. So it's not just on those cars. It's on Honda Accords. It's on Hyundai Sonatas. It's on cars that middle of the bell curve, good mud cars. With a touch on history. It's like not. It ain't getting there. You know what I mean? It's not getting there. People are finding a reason not to buy the car that has a issue, right? Could be miles, could be paint, could be whatever. And when you're looking at some of these condition reports that, they're knocking, I got like 15 new cars at the auction tomorrow, Bentleys and, Mustang, whatever they are, 500s, whatever. I got one with 40 miles on it, right off the showroom floor. We peeled the plastic actually off the vehicle, and they're showing it with previous paint work on the two bumpers. So it's really funny. But a $100,000 car, you got a condition report saying the car's been painted. And of course it ain't been painted. We peeled the plastic off from the factory, off the bumpers. Now, what's that do to the value of that car when somebody is looking at 714 condition reports and they're looking for cars, and it might even be something like that? They're not bidding on that car. You forced me to sell it somewhere else because you told the world my car's junk. Painted bumpers on a car that's brand new. So what that really means is I can't take that car to the auction, expose it as if it really was painted. I'm happily selling it to a Ford dealer that's dying to have it. He can't find one. But I guess the point is, it's these types of little issues that in this kind of a market where people start to get a little cautious, it's weird. And then when one pops up at 113, you're thinking yours could be worth that. When it ain't. It's an $86,000 or $7,000 car. A guy or a girl, whoever's evaluating the car, could get themselves in a world of trouble with a wave coming, and there's no life raft. So my feeling is, when you're talking about market reports, and I love market reports because under normal circumstances, if you know how to read, if you understand the alphabet of a market report, because you got to read all the way through, it's an enemy at the moment. It's going to lead you in places that unrealistic expectations are popping up, and you're going to wind up holding a bag of dog poop. You know what I mean? That's just my feeling. And when you get in on a run or on a roll, or you have your little circumstances down how you're evaluating things, use hopefully our software, but other people's software to do what you're doing. You gotta have like a little parrot chirping in your ear on the other side at the moment, to be a little bit aware of the rest of the story, right? In other words, that if one did sell, 7 others didn't sell, and therefore, what's the actual value? Just because one did, don't mean you can duplicate that. So, do you want to be the knucklehead that is, like using that as, hey, boss, one brought that, I paid 200 more, 200 less. Yeah, I know. It's a little weird. It's a weird time when you're coming off of this all-time, triple-time high, and we're not necessarily standing on terra firma at the moment, as far as like what's going on. We watched our friends Lane in Dallas yesterday, and he sold through it, but it's just not the same. It's not the same. It's different. It's a grind. It's a push, a grind, a push, and a grind, and you're still coming up 2-3G under what anticipated value is, right? So, listen, I'm all for buy everything and sell everything, all the time. I guess the point of this is these market reports, and they can't adjust until people start selling to the market. So you're going to continue to see unrealistic valuations there. It's not unrealistic because all they do is report what happened. The only thing they forget to report is what didn't happen. There was 9 there, 1 sold. What do you do about the other 8 that didn't? You couldn't even get in the room in terms of value of what what the other one brought. Right? I guess that's the moral of the story for today, Shawnee. It's a little weird. Feels weird as we come out of this, space shuttle marketplace. You know what I mean?
It's good.
They put you to sleep, Shawnee?
No, it's all good.
You're still breathing? All right, buddy.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for listening. Tune in every week for a new episode where we chat with Bob Hollinshead, founder of Accu-Trade and the largest independent vehicle wholesaler in North America.